Hello and welcome to a session I'm calling Pilates Squishy Ball. Quite self-explanatory, it is a Pilates session using a squishy ball. You may also like to use a towel, a pillow. We will begin lying down on your mat. Squishy ball between the knees. Feet hip-width apart, hands behind the head. You're going to exhale and squeeze into that ball. Activate inner thighs, core muscles, pelvic floor engages. As you exhale, deepen rib cage and abdominals. Inhale, release lightly, and exhale, re-engage. Let's keep that exhale and engaging muscles going as we add an ab curl. Exhale, engage and curl up, and inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, and inhale, lower. Exhale, squeeze, and inhale, release. Stay at the top for some squeezes into the ball. Keep breathing and curling up deeper. Now hold the squeeze and pulse that ab curl 1 inch up, 1 inch down, a little faster. Hold at the top. Reach for the squishy ball and place it between the ankles as you extend and bend the legs. You can lower the head, hands behind the head, and bend the knees and extend the legs. Inhale, bend, and exhale, extend. Squeeze into the center with every exhale, with every extension of the legs. Flex feet and add the ab curl as you extend. Curl up, inhale, down. Exhale, curl and squeeze, and inhale, lower and bend. Hips are nice and still. Knees stacked on top of those hips. Stay here at the top, holding behind the legs, and just bend and extend for another set in flexion. Hands can move behind the head if you prefer, or you can rest the head down to the ground. Reach a little higher, squeeze in a little deeper for this set of pulses. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Release the squishy ball. Release the squishy ball in both hands as you tap down with the toes, reach overhead, and then bring the squishy ball back between the ankles as you lower down with straight legs. Alternating. Toes tap as you reach overhead, and place the ball back between the ankles, straight legs lowering just a little bit, and return. Transferring from hands to feet. Find that coordination and breath work. Try to keep low back close to the mat as those legs lower. Hold here on an angle and squeeze into the squishy ball. Externally rotate with feet flexed. Hands behind the legs to curl up a little deeper, and pulse, 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 pulse. In, 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 in. Good job, and release. Let's lift the hips higher and bring the squishy ball onto the sacrum. Bending both legs, feet away from the ground. Rounding and extending of that lower back, hips and pelvis. Tip the tailbone up to the sky as the feet lift away from the ground, knees towards the chest, and then let the spine arch as the toes tap down. Control that with your spine and your breath and your abdominal muscles. Flex the feet. Now tapping heels down as you extend and bringing knees in as you round that low back, lifting tailbone. Now find neutral pelvis, neutral spine as we lift both legs into tabletop, arms by the side, single leg stretch. Toes point. Reach one leg long and switch, and inhale and exhale. Flex the feet and move into bicycle. Drop the leg down closer to the ground before it bends back up and in again. And reverse the direction of the bicycle. This time pointing toes and reaching longer from hip to tip of the toes. Long straight legs as we slice and slice, scissoring those legs. Flex the feet and keep the scissoring action going. Rest of the body is still. Head is centered between both shoulders. Point the toes, bring the legs back to the top and draw a circle, dropping feet down and coming straight up through the center together. Little semicircle, dropping legs halfway down, straight up through the center. This mimics a move you would do on the Pilates reformer machine with feet in straps. And reverse, legs are together through the center, and then they circle to the side and back to the top again. Exhale, lower halfway down and circle open back to the top. Doing a little bit of footwork, pointing and flexing the feet. Bring it back to the top. Bend one knee into the chest and extend the other leg long so the heel drops to the ground. And let's find a stretch for the hip flexor here. Breathing in, breathing out. Switch legs. And just rocking the pelvis from side to side, lifting one hip higher than the other. Feel this movement in the hips and pelvis, releasing any tightness or tension in our low back. Come to the center and find the pelvic tilt and the pelvic tuck. Dropping tailbone, lifting tailbone. Try not to do this with your legs and glutes. Try to move from your spine, your breath, and your core. You can feel that squishy ball moving a little bit underneath you. Bring the squishy ball into both hands, reach overhead as those bent knees sway from side to side, twisting the trunk of the body. Breathe in deeply into that twist. Bring squishy ball between the inner heels, external rotation as we frog the legs out, straight, bending in. Exhale, press, inhale, bend. Try to keep that ball in place. Hands behind the head will add the ab curl as the legs extend. You curl up. Exhale up. Press the legs farther away, longer. I'm not dropping the legs too close to the ground because I want to keep a neutral spine in the middle and lower back. Hands behind the legs now. We're going to use a little bit of momentum to catch a little bit of a V-sit balance at the top before rolling down, bending in, exhale, press, and a brief balance at the top. Really flexing abdominals, nice strong legs. Bring the squishy ball between the knees, arms into a T shape, and let's bring those tabletop legs from side to side. 50-60% to one side, and then drag the legs over to the other side, 50-60%. So not all the way down. We're keeping this in motion, twisting the trunk of the body. Chest open, collarbone long. Head and neck can look in the opposite direction. Placing squishy ball back between the inner ankles, inner heels, external rotation, and we move into the corkscrew. Legs circle to the side, down and around, back up to the top, and then restart in the other direction. Keep restarting down and around, back to the top, other direction, down and around, and back to the top. Hips will move a little bit side to side. Keep the core strong and exhale deeply as the legs lower to the bottom arc of that circle. Arms press and support, shoulders drop. And bring the legs to tabletop. Flex the feet. Press the legs straight and inhale, bend back into tabletop. Try not to change the hips, pelvis, or spine. Add the arms reaching overhead as the legs reach, and then bringing the arms down by the side as the knees bend in. Feel free to add the flexion, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders, looking forward, continuing that arm and leg choreography. Double leg stretch. And hands to the back of the legs. We'll catch that V-sit balance briefly at the top again, squeezing into the center as you balance at the top. Inhale down, exhale, press and balance. Hold here, reach the arms if you can. 3, 2, 1, and butterfly. Let's stretch it out at the top. Reaching beyond the toes, hands on top of the ball. Let the spine softly round and take a nice deep breath into the legs, hips, back. Legs are hip-width apart or a little bit wider. The squishy ball is between the knees. Knees are bent and sit up nice and tall right out of those sitting bones. Let's twist 3 times to the side and inhale center and twist, 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 and inhale center. Exhale, twist, twist, squeeze into the squishy ball with every exhale, exhale, exhale. Try to keep those legs stabilized. Keep your alignment, shoulders on top of hips. Reach the arms forward and let's roll down about halfway back and come back to the top. Exhale, half roll down, inhale, sitting tall. Squeeze into the center as you exhale halfway down. Inhale up, taking it a little bit further. Shoulder blades touch. And back up to sitting tall. Legs will straighten on the way down and they'll bend as you come back up. Plant those heels in place. And then a balance at the top. Float the feet, reach the arms, extend the legs, and try slowly rolling down through the spine into a total body stretch. Knees bent, feet down, squishy ball between the inner knees. As we move into bridge lifts, stretching the arms up to the sky, palms facing in. Squeeze into the center, into that squishy ball, and then lift the hips and pelvis, low back and middle back away from the ground. Exhale up and in. Inhale, lower down. Press the feet down and try arms reaching overhead. Hips lower, reach overhead. Exhale, reach to the sky as you bridge lift up. Stay here at the top and try deepening abdominals more, squeezing into the center more and pulse it out. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Interlace fingers, turn the palms up to the sky, squeeze in a little deeper, glutes engaged, up a little higher. And lower that down, bring knees in, wrap arms around the legs, rock it out, breathe it in. Rolling up to sitting. I'm adding a little extra cushioning as we move into rolling like a ball, holding under the legs, keeping squishy ball between the inner knees. Roll back to the shoulder blades and come back up and try to catch that balance. I like inhale to start and exhale, return and balance. If you want to kick it up a notch, bring the ball just behind the knees so you're squeezing in, maintaining that shape as you roll back and balance at the top. Keeping a C-curve shape in the spine. Now extend those legs V-sit balance, roll back about halfway, come back up again nice and tall, reach the ball to the toes. And release, good job. Straight legs out in front, squishy ball between the inner feet. Let's inhale to the sky and exhale, fold forward. Fingertips on that squishy ball as we exhale, push forward and through, and inhale, come back up and out of it a little bit. Just a bit of a spine stretch here. Rounding over the legs, breathing into the back. And moving onto our side body. Squishy ball is between the inner ankles. Lift both legs away from the ground, couple inches up, and lower down without completely resting at the bottom, just hovering above the ground. Try that same thing, but pike the legs further in front of you now. Exhale to lift, inhale to hover. Exhale to lift, inhale to hover. Keep lengthening those legs a little longer with each lift. And then let's alternate, where we do one lift in front of the body and one lift bringing the legs back in line with the rest of the body. Lift and lower, bring it back, lift and lower, bring it front, lift and lower, bring it back, lift and lower. Stay here with legs back, little pulses at the top, and if you can, let's extend the arms, reaching top arm to the sky. Maybe looking at those feet, balancing and breathing, tightening the tummy a little bit more. Keeping the top leg resting on that stability ball, we're going to open up that hip flexor by bringing the leg back behind us. Bottom leg is bent and your top arm is just reaching forward and just doing a little pulsing motion back with that top leg. Just stretching through the quadricep, hip, side body, shoulder. Bring that ball just to tuck behind the top knee. So top leg is bent, both legs are bent. And we're going to do some circles with that top knee, dropping down and lifting up, circling around and in again. Go for about 8 of these. The squishy ball just keeps the shape of the leg in place. Try flexing the foot and reversing the direction of the circle. Knee up. Drop heel down, point knee forward, and lift it up again. Move from the hip. Feel the work in the glute and leg, and keep the core nice and strong and connected. Coming into a seated position, we'll stack the legs one on top of the other, flexing the feet. Get a nice stretch through hips and glutes here. Inhale, lift to the sky, and exhale, reaching forward over those legs. Resting hands on top of squishy ball. Take a breath in, and exhale, maybe rolling the ball further away. Dropping in a little deeper. Inhale, let's come up. Switching sides, drop down to your elbow. Bringing squishy ball just between the inner ankles, inner edges of the feet. I like to keep the feet active in this series, so you could point the toes or flex the feet. Exhale, lift up, and inhale, hover down. Couple inches up and down to the hover. And then pike those legs forward in front of you and try another set here. Exhale, lift, and inhale, lower. Try to relax upper body. And let's alternate. Bringing it back into a long line and lift the legs higher, drop them down and move them in front of you and lift up a little higher. In line and lift, in front and lift, back in line and lift, and in front and lift. Stay back, little pulses here. Find your balance and see if it's possible to extend the arms, top arm reaching up, bottom arm pressing down, head lifted. You can do it. Good, and graceful dismount. We'll bring that top leg onto the ball and just little pulsing motions, bringing it back and back and back as the top arm reaches overhead. Create that nice long line of energy, feeling a stretching sensation through the shoulders and hips, maybe the abdomen. Bring squishy ball behind that top knee, bending both legs. Moving from your hip, we're going to lift the knee to the sky, drop the heel down, point the knee forward and lift it up again. You're drawing circles with that kneecap. The leg stays in alignment, so squishy ball stays in place. Go for 8, and then we'll reverse the direction. Try not to lean back as you open that knee up. And good job. Let's come up to sitting where we are going to stack the legs. Flex the feet. Ankle on top of knee, knee on top of ankle. Inhale, lift high to the sky, and exhale, fold forward over the legs. Take a moment to breathe into the body. Let the breath help support the release of tightness and tension, any strain or muscle fatigue. Let it dissipate with that exhale. Soften shoulders and face. And slowly release. Coming on to our front body now. Legs long behind you, soft pointed toes. Bring the wrists and the palms on top of the squishy ball, looking down to the ground. Move the squishy ball in as we swan dive upwards. Try not to shrug the shoulders, keep them stabilized. And see if the rib cage and lower abdominals can lift away from the mat as the squishy ball comes in. And exhale, lengthen longer as you push the squishy ball out. I like exhale, draw it in. Inhale at the top and exhale, push it back out again. Longer with each press. Feel the back body working to lift the front body up and away from the mat. Holding with the palms. We're now lifting the arms and legs, getting that spinal extension, back body working through the legs, hips, glutes, and back body. Crown of the head reaching towards the squishy ball. So you're looking down as you're lifting up. Let's stay here at the top. Hold the squishy ball in one hand and transfer it over to the other hand at your low back. Bring both arms overhead. And now the other hand holds the squishy ball. Bring both hands to the low back and transfer over and reach overhead. Keep alternating at your low back. Keep legs long and lifted if you can. Now stay here holding the ball behind you. Lift up a little higher. And then rest down. Good job. Let's rock those legs out side to side. Leg sways. See if you can place a squishy ball between the ankles. Stack hands to rest the forehead on top. Keep the upper body down. Let's focus on the lower body. Engage the glutes and those abdominals, and then lift the legs. Squeeze into the squishy ball. Bring the squishy ball with you as you exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Stay at the top for 3, 2, 1 little squeezes and lower. Stay at the top. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale, lower. And let's add on here, coming up to the top, and then reach the arms forward and sweep the arms down to the hips. And lower that down. Remove the squishy ball. Take a moment just to rest and recover. Find your breath. Bring the ball just underneath the chest. Try reaching one arm forward and up, and then the other arm forward and up. Keep legs and hips stabilized. Let's go into that breaststroke exercise. Reaching forward and through and sweeping arms back behind you. Come up a little higher at the back, little lower as we reach the arms forward and through. And use those lats and shoulders to sweep the arms back. Spinal extension, glutes engaged. Hold the arms here behind you, palms to the sky as we pulse up, up, up. Little tricep pulses. Shoulder blades squeeze. And now bring the elbows underneath those shoulders. Tuck the toes and come up into elbow plank. Strong shoulders, flowing breath. Press back to the heels. And rest the knees to the ground. Sit back to the heels. Reach the ball away. And enjoy a moment in child's pose. I'm rocking side to side, squishy ball rolling right to left. Coming up into a kneeling position, I'm just sitting on the squishy ball, helps me find my pelvic floor. And get a few Kegels in. Exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, deepening abdominals. Let's close the eyes, palms in the lap. Breathe in. Tune in. Check in. Take a moment for stillness. Rolling the shoulders up, back, around, and down. And breathing in, let's lift the arms up, high and overhead, and exhale, lower it down. Think of a Kegel on that exhale. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, engage. Inhale, higher lift. Exhale. Bring the hands behind you, fingers forward. Open up the chest. Let the head drop back. Get some openness in the throat, chest, heart. Maybe a little back bend here. Pressing hips up and away from the ball. Knees point down. Little bend and extension in the elbows. Back up where you were. Plank position, shoulders on top of the wrists. And let's pike the hips into down dog. Be upside down for a few breaths. Heels drop, fingertips press, arms and legs long. Inhale, expand the ribs, and exhale, bring the ribs closer around the spine. Walk the hands back to the feet into a standing forward bend. Reach for opposite elbows and sway the body side to side. Knees bent, hands on the knees, slowly rolling up to standing. Good job, everybody. You have conditioned your body from head to toe using the Pilates squishy ball. Thank you for joining me.